Hi viewers, today we have a very special guest, the inspiration behind the hit Disney movie Invincible, keynote speaker, and former teammate to the current 2018 Super Bowl champs, Vince Papale. Vince, thank you for joining
It's great to be here at Eagles Talent, of course. Thank you so much.
and happy birthday by the way.
Thank you.
So let's get right into it. When you were in high school, you earned a college scholarship for pole vaulting. As you know, we're in the midst of Olympic season. Did you ever consider trying out for the Olympics?
That's a great question because, that was one of my original dreams. I had the dream of being a Philadelphia Eagle first, and my idol was Tommy McDonald, the little guy, and I was a little guy. But I I've actually wanted to be a decathlete or a pole vaulter all my life, and I was always enthralled with that. I remember Bob Richards and all these guys who were great pole vaulters back in the day. And when you know it, I wound up coming out of high school only a foot and a half off the world's record. And I never pole vaulted before. The world's record had just hit 16 feet, and I hit 14.6. And as I went into college, and they got me at St. Joe's College. I went in as a pole vaulter, but then the coach made me do all kinds of different events. I wound up doing 5 different events every meet. Wow. So I started getting into this decathlon state of mind. And so when I got out of college and I started coaching high school football, I took it very seriously. I started training to try to qualify for the Olympic trials decathlon in 1972. And I got the score that I needed, but it wasn't sanctioned by the governing body, so I couldn't get into any the Olympic trials per se. So I just said, well, that's it. Whatever it was 24, 26. Forget this one. It's going to go nowhere. So as luck would have it, if one door slams, another one opens.
Right, absolutely.
And I started playing semi-pro football, and that led to me getting into the NFL, and then the movie Invincible, and sitting here with you. So that was pretty cool.
Well, that actually
I call that the butterfly effect, by the way.
That actually brings me to my next question. At the age of 30, you became the oldest rookie in NFL history to play without any college experience when you made the Philadelphia Eagles. I know that you didn't have a football team at your college, and as you said, you were committed to St. Joseph's for track. How did your post-collegiate football career begin?
It actually began by I was a head track coach at my alma mater in suburban Philly, and I had a coach that coached all the throwing events, the javelin, shot put, and discus, of which my partner Dennis Franks was state champion in the discus for the state of Pennsylvania, and his name was Bill. He was one of the characters in the movie. I won't say his last name. So anyway, Bill played in these rough touch leagues. He said, come on, man. He says, we do it every Sunday morning. We'll do it before we go to the Eagles game because I was a season ticket holder. So I did it. And that was what I did. I was coaching. I was playing these rough touch leagues as they portrayed in the movie, and it was exactly like that. It was so cool. And after a game was over, I'd jump into training, go right down to the stadium and see the Philadelphia Eagles play. I was a season ticket holder back then, and that just sort of I always had that love for football, and it sort of kept the football skills alive and gave me that confidence that if ever given a shot, I'd be able to do it.
I mean, to go from a season ticket holder watching the game to on the field, that's incredible.
Yeah, well, they say that's why they made a movie about it.
Right.
I'm not gonna kid you, but that's how they made the movie. That's why they made the movie about it. But you know what? It's everybody's story. I mean, it's not just a football story. And a lot of people have gone from one thing to the next, made those tremendous leaps. And that's what Invincible does. It celebrates those victories that people have when people say it can't be done.
Well, I think that's why it's such a successful movie, too, because it's so relatable, the story.
Yeah, it's not only relatable to the stories, not everybody's story, it's relatable to generations.
Right.
And to have somebody come up to me and they have a child with them, and they say, remember the movie we watched about that football guy? They don't say my name, that football guy. And they, they'll say, Invincible. And as soon as they say those words, they look up and they say, but he doesn't look like Mark Wahlberg. They have a tough time capturing that. But hey, it's been great, and it's been a great run. That's why I'm sitting here talking to you because of it. So it's pretty cool.
During your time with the Eagles, you were voted Special Teams Captain and Man of the Year in 1978.
I was very, very proud of that.
How did you earn such impressive titles in such a short period of time?
By making the plays, just like my partner here, Dennis Franks. He was special teams captain the next year. As we gained the trust and the confidence of our teammates because we made the plays and we were leaders. in certain ways. Dennis is more gregarious than I am, and but a great leader, and I was more the quiet guy, just the killer and the assassin out on the field. And guys just said, this is the guy we want to lead you, and that's pretty much how that happened. Wow. And then, but I have to tell you that of all the things that I've ever received, that the Man of the Year award that I got in 1977 was the one that I covet the most. Because of work in the community. That's when you make a real impact. Mm-hmm. And I was very proud to say that I got to be a finalist along with Roger Staubach and Archie Manning. Mm-hmm. And Roger Staubach won the award, but to say that I was Man of the Year and get ready to get that, givers get. And that's one of the greatest rewards I've ever gotten.
Wow. You've beat the odds many times in life, first by making it to the NFL at age 30, and then later in life during your battle with colon cancer. Mm-hmm. How do you remain so positive in the face of adversity?
Because I have positive people around me. I have a beautiful family. I've got beautiful friends. I've got Dennis. I've got my wife, Janet, of 24 years. She was so much like me. She was a world-class gymnast. It was told she'll never make it. She doesn't have the skills. Everybody's better than you. And she took that and took it to the peak level that you could, representing the USA. And I have beautiful children around me, and they inspire me. And I look at them and I see their dreams in their eyes, and so. But I try to stay around positive people, and I stay active. I stay fit, and that's very important. One of the greatest things is actually getting out on stage and get out there and be in front of groups and be energized by them. And they motivate me just as much as I motivate them, because I can see as I'm looking at them out there, and they're not hearing, it's going into their soul. And I know then I've made an impact. And there's no greater thing to me that you can do in life than is to make an impact on somebody's life.
So do you think the key to a positive attitude is surrounding yourself with good energy, positive people?
Yeah, well, certainly, and also having a purpose, and being relevant, and keeping that dream alive. Mm-hmm. Never stop dreaming. It's never too late to get into the game. True. And it doesn't make a difference what level you're at. You've got the potential to take it to the next level. You have that potential to make that dream come true, whatever that thing is, but you have to be willing to pay the price, and you got to be willing to hustle, if not forget about it. The dream, then, you're just, you're a poser. And life's full of posers.
Our clients have described you as fantastic, personable, energetic. I know you just said we'll never see you.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm done. Let's go.
And why do you feel your keynotes are so well received by audiences?
Because they see me as one of them. It's very simple. I'm the guy that came. I was the son of a pig farmer. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I can make it, anybody can make it. My mom and dad never got beyond the 8th grade, and they were dreamers too. They came in from immigrant families, and so I can relate because they see me as one of them. Mm-hmm. I don't put myself above them, put myself on a pedestal, and look down. Mm-hmm. I look eye to eye with them at that same level.
Wow. Before you go, I have to ask about the huge movie, Invincible. In the movie, as you said, you were played by Mark Wahlberg. Are there any moments from your life that didn't make it into the film that you wish had?
Well, yeah, there were a couple. One in particular, I wish that they could have told a real story as to how I made the team. Mm-hmm. We couldn't do it because of what they would have called it a Rudy moment. When Rudy found out he made the team, he went out and made a phone call to his father. When I found out I made the team, when Coach Vermeil came up to me on the field, said, congratulations, old man, you're a Philadelphia Eagle, welcome to the team. The first thing I did is I said, can I make a phone call? And he said, we're going to call a press conference. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, I want to go call my dad. And I ran down to a payphone. They don't have payphones anymore. Right. And I made a collect call, which means the person that's answering has to pay for the call. Mm-hmm. And I called Westinghouse, where my dad worked for 25, 30 years. And I got the shop steward, and it's just, these guys are right out of Central Casting. And I just said, hey, I said, Slim, tell Kingy, that's my father, his little boy is a Philadelphia Eagle. Wow. And you could just hear it in the background. They were going crazy. And you could hear Slim said, Kingy, we did it, and we went out and we partied for 7. We partied probably as hard as we did when the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. Wow. But it was a party to never forget and a moment to remember. and and it's been immortalized now with the movie Invincible. So they had to change the scene around a little bit, and I wish they had gone back and got to see the real deal that I was a school teacher. That's very important to me, that I'm a school teacher. It's the greatest thing I've ever done. I mean, forget playing professional sports. Being a school teacher was the greatest profession I've ever been in. And but now, I'm in that same thing, because I'm up on stage and I'm teaching and coaching, and there's no greater thing to do than that.
I was going to ask, I'm curious how your time as a teacher has influenced your life now as a keynote speaker.
That's a great point, because it's preparation. And I was always a teacher that I didn't go there and I just, okay, open up the book and you're going to do this and that. I was a guy when you're in my classroom where we not only, I instructed, but I did a lot of audio visual back then. One of the first things was the overhead projector, which they thought was high tech. But I always used the overhead projector, and I did a lot of AV. And then after I taught, we had that time period where we would sit for 10 or 15 minutes and I would instruct them and they would go through what I just tried to teach them. So they didn't have to be confused when they get home and get frustrated and say, well, the guy didn't teach me right, because I was there with them. But the key was, when I was teaching them, this is in the late 60s, early 70s, hard rock was at its best. And I had the hard rock music playing in the background in my classroom. So they loved, and I had all the posters all around. They used to have they had the glow lights, and I had the glow lights set up in my classroom.
Wow.
And when they walked in there, they'd see, welcome to homeroom 24, the pride of Interboro. When you walked into that classroom, you wanted to be there. And that's what I like to think, that when people come to hear me speak, they want to be there because I've got something to tell them. So they say I was a pretty cool teacher. So
mean, I wish I had taken your class.
Yeah, it was fun. Well, listen, you got to go up and give that same thing of 5 or 6 times in a day. It's got to be fun to you, right? I mean, you can't have fun doing it. So that to me was the best way to do it. And I broke the rule in terms of the dress, because I was always training in the morning for the decathlon. So I would always have my track shoes on, and I forget about a tie. If I had a tie on, the tie was down to here. And it was pretty. I'll have to send you a picture that was given to me by my students when I left to chase my dream. It's pretty cool.
Definitely, we'd love to see that. Lastly, what is next for Vince?
I'm going to continue to watch my children, beautiful children, Gabrielle and Vincent, chase their dream and do whatever I can to help that. And same thing for Janet. And starting a new project with my partner in crime, and also my teammate with the Philadelphia Eagles, Dennis Franks. And we've written a book called The Last Laugh: From Vision to Victory. And we're going to go out promoting that book, do some book signings, and go on and start having a series of books. And perhaps, if we're lucky, we'll have a dual speaking series going on with Dennis and I, talking and helping people getting from here to there, realizing their full potential. Greatest waste out there is waste of potential, and we think that we've got the vision to victory. We've got the victory code that's going to help them get to that next level.
Well, your story is just incredible, and you have a whole new adventure ahead of you. Happy birthday again.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining me.
Appreciate it very much. Great interview, by the way. And I like that shirt. That's really badass. Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you. Be sure to check out Vince on eaglestalent.com. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.